Yes, I do it, I do it. When we get it, we get it. We in the streets with the scriptures. Pray my people repent. Don't take my countenance for hatred. My hostility is needed. And by the end of this lesson, y'all gon' know what we preaching. And that's the truth. 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 Lord, thy righteousness is everlasting righteousness. Is now the black man in this trap, man. I'm supposed to act like I don't feel it. Forced to believe in his American dreams to the self-esteem of my opinions. Talk that I have a lost lineage, and I'm just supposed to be content with what's done is done, and that's in the past, and accept these terms and conditions when they break, rob, murder, these brothers serving ignorance. Waiting a righteous judgment, these heathens be in this covenant. All fallacies are uncovered. Truth is loose and undercover. Prophets back to confront you. These devils ain't running from us. It's the spiritual, written on physical. Yeah, this is biblical. Keep these laws so I see Esau pay for all that we've been through.
Shalom, Most High Christ bless. Welcome back to the Truth Be Told DC. I'm Officer Matthew, and to my right,
Soldier Micah.
To my left,
Officer Phinehas.
And Soldier Daniel.
All right, let's open up as we always do with the book of John, chapter 8, verse 32.
The book of John, chapter 8, verse 32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
So the truth is, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are indeed the biblical Israelites, and you are called to repent and keep God's commandments for the day of pending destruction. So let's go ahead and open up with a video real quick, because today's lesson is called Across the Four Corners. So the Israelites are scattered across the four corners. So we're going to bring some scriptures out to show this. So before that, we're going to go ahead and roll this video of the Hamite talking about eating and killing Israelites.
We want to go to this African statement where I have this African confession on tape that he know we are two different manner of people. We're talking about the seed of Ham, and that they sold us into captivity, and that they was cutting our ancestors' heads off, okay, and that they was eating, okay, the heads because they were a bunch of heathens. Just like it says in Jeremiah the 10th chapter, follow not the ways of the heathens. And how he specifically distinguished that he come from a different bloodline, a different ethnic origin from the so-called Afro-American, Jamaican, Haitian, Puerto Rican, Panamanian, Cubans, Mexicans, okay, so on and so forth, and the so-called black, brown-skinned Native American Indians, okay, and all the brothers and sisters in the shanty towns of North, Central, and South America of so-called Negroid descent.
The problem is, you Israelites, you black people in this country, what do you say about them? You call them animals or something? I call them inferior. I call you slaves. We turn you into slaves, and when we didn't need it no more, we kick you out of Israel, and out of Egypt and out of Africa. We sold you to America, and that's where we want you to stay, and we don't want you back in Africa again. Now, you black people in this country, it's time for you to wake up and realize that this thick doodle-eating African does not care about you. He's not your people. He hates you, and that's why he sold you out of Africa. Now, and you admit that, right? You're admitting that today on the white man is not a devil. We sold it to the white man. Right. If we had sold it to our devil, you would not be alive today. Now, let's get back to devil. You did. We don't want you to die yet. So we didn't have to chop our heads off in slavery and all that and sacrifice it to your God. We ate it. What do you mean sacrifice it? Say it again? We ate the goddamn heads when we chopped them off. We didn't sacrifice you. Oh, we used to eat your assholes over there in Africa. Yeah. Before you sold us. God, that we used to eat the men over there. Before you sold us to America. And then when we got fed up of your flesh, it was no good anymore, and we thought it was unclean, we decided to sell you to slavery to get rid of you. In case you multiply and subdue the earth over there. Okay, now, but let's get back to the point, because you're trying to get away from it. Why wasn't he able to stop the hand of the Lord, the Israelite God, the God of Israel, from delivering his people from such a powerful, mighty nation? How come your God didn't do that? How come he didn't stand up for Pharaoh and save Pharaoh's armies from being drowned in the Red Sea? We said, get your assholes, you Israelites, out of our God country, and take your God with you. I don't want to see a box of you anymore. That's a lie. You were forced to let go of the children of Israel. No matter how we were, it doesn't matter. We were glad to see your whole God. No, you was glad. You was glad because you was getting your asses and you came back. You was glad because you was getting your asses kicked. No, when they came back, we just had to sell you. You know what? When they came back, when you came back to Africa, we started to slave. Getting your asses kicked. That's why. Okay, now listen. We were beating your assholes with whip and turning to slaves. So how could we get our asses kicked?
So many of you wondering at home probably like, oh, I thought we were Africans. Let's go ahead and get that out the book of Exodus, because the Lord put a difference between the so-called Hamites and you Israelites.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 11, verse 7. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue, against man or beast, that ye may know how the Lord doth put a difference.
He does what?
Doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel.
Let's see if that still holds true today. We're going to go out of the Compact Bible Dictionary, and let's see what the scholars know. Because you didn't get that name African American until around 1985. Before that, you was black. Then before that, you was Negro. And then when you got over here, you was a nigger. Every 20-some odd years, our nationality changed. Let's go ahead and get this out.
This is the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. Definition: Ham. The youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor,
or the father,
of the dark races.
There you go. He's all black people, right? Let's see.
Not the Negroes.
Not who?
Not the Negroes. But the Egyptians.
Africans.
Ethiopians.
Africans.
Libyans.
Africans.
And Canaanites.
And more Africans. So in order for the scholars to put that in the book, they have to know something about you. In order to make that statement that your forefather is not Ham or the father of the Africans, they have to know who your real forefather is. That's why they put that statement in there. Read that. He said he's the forefather of the dark races, not the Negroes. See, a lot of our people read these things and don't even read these things and don't even realize the scholars put these things right under our noses. You can pick up any Bible dictionary and read that. Read that part again for him.
The definition of Ham: he became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negro.
And people don't realize how heavy of a statement that is to put something that powerful in the book. But let's go ahead and with the lesson. Let's go ahead. Let's get a historical account. So let's go to Acts chapter 21. Let's see, because we, when you read the scriptures, we get mistaken for Egyptians in a few instances, or Africans throughout the Bible. So let's read an account.
The book of Acts, chapter 21, verse 37. And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, May I speak unto thee? Who said, Canst thou speak Greek?
So the chief captain looked at Paul and said, Can you speak Greek, brother?
Verse 38. Are not thou that Egyptian?
Art now what?
Are not thou that Egyptian?
He said, Ain't you that Egyptian, brother?
Which before these days made us an uproar, and led us out the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers. But Paul said, I am a man which am a Jew of Tarsus.
Paul said, I am a man which am a Jew from the city of Tarsus. Paul told him flat out, I'm not an African, I'm not an Egyptian, I am an Israelite. So people read over this stuff and don't really understand what that's based off of, because as we read, there's a difference between Africans and Israelites. So let's go ahead and roll with the lesson. Let's go ahead and roll with Acts, the book of Acts chapter 7. We're in the same book.
This is the book of Acts chapter 7, verse 22. And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians.
Moses was what?
Moses was learned in all the ways of the Egyptians.
So Moses was deep into the Egyptology, the real Egyptology, not that fake mess that you brothers out there studying now. Y'all don't even know what y'all studying. Moses was a master of that garbage. Let's see what Moses did.
And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians.
All the Egyptian mystery schools.
And was mighty in words and in deeds.
And Moses was a powerful man. He was mighty in words because he spoke that stuff because he knew it. That's how he was a mighty man in words and deeds. Keep reading.
And when he was full 40 years old, it came unto his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel. And seeing one of them suffer wrong, he defended him.
He did what?
He defended him and avenged him that was oppressed.
So Moses smote the Egyptian. He turned down all that garbage.
And smote the Egyptian.
So let's keep on going with the lesson. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 37. Because we get all these bywords on us. Black. What else they got? They got
Afro-American.
Yeah, Afro-American, African-American. Nigga, that's a state one. Coon, wetback, porch monkey. All these things, these are curses in the Bible. We're not called by our biblical names, but the scholars, as we read out of the Bible dictionary, know that we are the Israelites because they made a bold statement, said, you ain't of African descent.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment.
When you look at an astonishment, what does that mean? Mean you just amazed when you see something. The foolishness that you see out of you so-called Negroes and Latinos just astonish the other nations. We are a laughing stock. We also amaze them with our athletic abilities. They like, run, nigga, sing, dance.
Jump.
Yeah, jump. Keep going.
A proverb.
A proverb. That's a wise saying, like, niggas love fried chicken, or Mexicans always, yeah. Well, that's actually a fact.
It is.
That's a fact. But Mexicans carry knives. Keep going.
That might be a fact. And a byword.
And a what?
And a byword.
That's your African American, your coon, nigga, porch monkey, spick.
Among all nations, whether the Lord shall lead thee.
No, just in America.
Among all nations, whether the Lord shall lead thee.
Among all nations. I wish we had the clip. But it was a police officer pulled over a car. It was like 3 blacks in there and one so-called Hispanic. He said, all niggas get out the car. And the man in the Northern Kingdom brother in there, I'm no Negro. He said, Esau said, I didn't say what type of nigga. I said all niggas get out the vehicle. So they already know. And I seen what's that? Renovant? The thing with Leonardo DiCaprio about with the bear.
Yeah.
There was a clip in there. We gonna get it up on here too. They was riding down the river in a boat, and he said there's tree niggas all around us talking about the Native Americans. So they already know that they Israelites.
Right.
So they put the stuff in all kinds of movies and everything else. But what happened to us? How do we end up in this state? Matter of fact, let's get the Bible out the Bible real quick. Yeah, you got that?
Yeah, I got
let's
it.
get Acts 13:1, because niggas in the Bible. And we're going to bring the history out on that too.
The book of Acts, chapter 13, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called nigger.
That was called what?
That was called nigger.
That's a Latin word for black. So we're going to get the etymology on that, because some people might see that and say, well, it's spelled Niger. That's Niger. Right. Nah, let's see what historical documentation says.
This is a book entitled Africa's Gift to America by J.A. Rogers. Page 61. These first Africans,
or Israelites, what he's talking about,
were variously called nigger,
from
river nigger, Niger, Ethiopian, and more.
Because more is Portuguese for black.
Letting you know they ruled Europe.
Right.
Nigger was pronounced not Niger.
It was pronounced what?
Nigger was pronounced not Niger, Niger, but nigger, Nigger.
That's the facts on that. So all that switching up Niger and all that, that's all garbage to keep you asleep. Yeah, that's all confusion. So that's it on that. The Bywords. There's many more, but for the sake of brevity, we're going to keep the lesson moving.
Right. Let's get Luke 21 and 20 to 24.
Because it is a mystery how we ended up in Africa. And from Africa to America.
Luke 21. Start at 21.
No, start at 20.
Start at 20. The book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies.
So this was a warning that Christ gave the Israelites when he walked the earth. Read on.
Then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
So the Christ is letting them know, look, when you see these armies come, the destruction of Israel is near.
Then let them which are in Judea flee into the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter therein.
So Christ is just saying, look, you need to leave Jerusalem, Judea. You need to leave and don't come back.
And flee into the mountains. Let's
flee into the mountains. Let's see what those mountains are.
Right. Because somebody might get simple thinking, it's mountainous regions all over. No, it's not mountainous regions all over. That's west of Jerusalem.
The book of Matthew, chapter 2, verse 13. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him.
Right.
Okay, so during that time, even our forefathers, they went into Egypt.
Right.
Why wouldn't they go up north? because Europeans were up north,
Right.
So-called Esau. How if you were of a dark tone, how you gonna blend in
Right.
with Esau?
Right, and then that don't even make sense because we just read out of the scholarly dictionary. If Christ was an Edomite, why would he hide in go into Egypt to hide?
Go in Egypt.
That
to
is
hide.
like, brother, they looking for you. You need to hide in Sweden, bro. It ain't happening, brother. That brother stick out like a sore thumb. That's just showing you how foolish that garbage is.
Right.
That's another cut for Caesar.
Right. Now let's get this book, Babylon, page 84.
Yeah, Babylon to Timbuktu. Let's break this out because Christ said, "Let's flee into Egypt."
Page 84.
I got you. The book entitled Babylon, From Babylon to Timbuktu, from Rudolph R. Winslow. Page 82 or 84?
84.
Page 84. In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state.
So this was the warning that Christ was giving the Israelites during his time when he walked.
Exactly.
With General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter.
With what?
With great slaughter.
There wasn't no peace treaties either back then.
Right.
During the period of the military governance of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa.
They fled where?
Fled into Africa.
They fled into Africa. They didn't fled into Poland.
Right.
Or Germany.
Right.
They fled into Africa. Read on.
Fleeing Roman persecution.
Because they was fleeing the Romans. Why would you go north when the Romans were north?
That don't even make sense. You run into your enemy. What?
Yeah, you run into them.
Christ didn't give them instructions.
In slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves.
Wow. Pick
There you
that
go
up
again.
in verse 24. Let's see if Christ said the same thing.
The book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword.
We just read that in the book with great slaughter and atrocities.
And shall be led away captive into all nations.
They should be what?
Shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
And that's what you see going on over there today. That's Amalek over there in your land.
Yep, and the
faking to be you.
Palestinians. And the Palestinians. That's because Christ even telling you that after you are destroyed, which was happened during 70 AD, that after that time, the Gentiles will live in the land until their time has been fulfilled.
Right.
So now when you look at the land, it's parted. One part is Amalek, and another part is the Palestinians.
Right. So that's already letting you know.
Now let's get
the video.
Yeah, let's crack that video real quick. The Negroland map to show you something.
When you go to an ancient map, which was mapped out during the time of 15 centuries, you're going to identify and see that before there was a place called West Coast of Africa, West Africa. That place was originally called what? Negroland. And before it was called Negroland, those areas were called what? Were called Kingdom of Judah or Waida. Kingdom of Waida, or kingdom of, some call it kingdom of Waida, some call it kingdom of Judah. I'm talking about what is today the area which you people call today West Africa. It was never before this time, it was never called West Africa. West Africa, the name West Africa just came up recently, and they are doing it to hide the original name. So now we're going to somewhere. So now the name West Africa came to replace the original name which the people who are living there were bearing, which is the Negro land. Now that Negro land is the area which was used by the Romans to identify a particular people who are living in that area. This is why they marked that area and they call it Negro area, and they call it also Negro land, telling you that the people who occupy this area of land are Negroes. So by doing that, they are by giving that area Negro land or Negro area, what they are automatically doing is they are identifying the people who are living in this area with that name, Negro area or Negro land. And when you go to the ancient map, which was, the map which was mapped during the time of 16th centuries or 15th centuries, you are going to see that the map clearly shows that those area, those people who were living in that area were called what? Those area, that area which is called West Africa today, were called Negro area. So now, what happened? It was after they start the Westerners, let me just say the Romans, they started, the Westerners, all of them, they started coming to us. Now they started doing what? Demarcating, to divide those areas. Before, there was nothing like Cameroon. There was nothing like Niger. Niger is the Niger, what they call Niger. You see it is just rightly located above Nigeria. So now there was nothing before this time, before this place was called West Africa. There was no division. So these areas were called what? Were collectively called what? Negro area by what? By the Romans. So they used that term Negro area to identify the Negroes who are living in that area. So now, get something. I was reading a Bible dictionary one certain time. I still got one of it, and it is Zondervan Bible Dictionary or so. Then I went under the term harm, and they said something there. They said Ham became the progenitor of the dark races or something like that, But he said something, but not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, the Libyans, the Canaanites, and so. So now he said that Ham became the ancestors of what? Of the dark races, but not the Negroes. That is to say, they were telling you in that particular passage, in that particular place, that Ham is not the ancestor of who? Of the Negroes. Then that means, and now when you see, you now know that the Romans, they gave the Negro, these people who are living in the west coast of Africa, they gave the people that area the name Negroland or Negro area to identify the people who were living in this part of the world, that they are what? They are Negroes. So what?
So when we come back off that video, as you can see, we have brothers and sisters in Africa as well, and all over the parts of the world. That's why this title is called Across the Four Corners. So we're going to pick up right back again. Well, what are you holding over there, soldier?
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27.
Okay.
And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither the Lord shall lead you.
So the Most High was going to scatter us amongst the heathen. This is where we would live. We would no longer be in our homeland.
Right.
Because remember, the Romans sacked it in 70 AD.
Right.
So now we've been scattered amongst the heathen. How they scattered us? Slavery. Before it was trans-Saharan slavery, then the transatlantic slave trade.
Right.
Back to back. That's how we were scattered.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 26. I said, I will scatter them into corners. I will make the remembrance of them to cease from among men.
So the remembrance would cease from among men. So that means we won't know who we are. We are no longer known as Israel when you read Psalms 83.
Yeah, let's get that. Because let's get the process on how that happened. Because that's something heavy. He said that he will scatter us across the corners and make the remembrance of us cease from among men. That's why we don't see Israelite on job applications.
Right.
We don't see these things.
Right. You know yourselves as bywords.
Right.
And not what the Most High God calls you.
The book of Psalms chapter 83 verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
So thy who?
Thine enemies make a tumult.
These are your enemies.
Nah, God loves everybody.
So hold on. These are the enemies and the heathens. It's the same.
But I thought it was all love. How all love gonna have enemies?
Right. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
And these nations which are heathen, they hate thee. They hate the Most High God and the Israelites.
Right.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Boom. Same thing. Let us cut them off from being a nation. And they done this how? In slavery.
As a result.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
There you go. That's clear. The nations are confederate against us. Have you ever looked at the United Nations Summit? You don't see one Negro, Latino, or Native American up there with any representation because we all the same people.
Right.
Why are we not representing none of that garbage? Because they've taken crafty
and
counsel.
don't be fooled just because you might see a representative from Mexico that's actually
no.
You think that when they were conquered that they gave the land back to the natives?
Right.
No. When South America was conquered, you think they gave the land back to the native people?
The proof is in the language they speak.
Right.
Portuguese.
Right.
Right. Just
Spanish.
like we speak English.
Right.
The language of our oppressor. They speak Spanish, the language of their oppressor.
So don't get dumb.
This is the book of James, chapter 1, verse 1. James, a servant of God and the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings.
So even in the New Testament, it says that the Israelites, even during that time, we were scattered abroad.
So that just totally debunks that they were done away with because that's the book of James.
Right.
I believe that's after the death of Christ. Yeah. Oh, okay. Just checking.
Now let's get we get Isaiah.
Isaiah 11, yeah. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 11, verse 11. And it shall come to pass that in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people.
So that has not happened
Right.
yet.
When that's going to be fulfilled.
Right. Christ has not come back yet.
Who we getting again when he come back a second time?
And it shall come to pass that in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people.
Okay.
Yes. And his is possessive.
Right.
Read on.
Which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt.
Because remember, when we read James, it said that they were scattered abroad.
Based on the curses that we read in Deuteronomy.
Which shall be from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea.
Read over that list again. Read over that list again.
Because there's one particular we want to go into.
Which shall be left from Assyria.
That's Syria.
And from Egypt. And from Pathros. And from Cush. And from Elam.
Elam, that's East India for you listeners and viewers at home.
Yep, and Cush is Ethiopia.
Right.
And from Shinar.
That's Iraq.
And from Hamath. And from the islands of the sea.
That means all over the planet.
And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcast of Israel.
Hold on, what? He recovering the what?
So, yeah, exactly. It's saying it right there.
And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcast of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth.
So that's not all nations.
That's clear. That clearly hadn't happened yet because we still here.
Now let's get
Wanted to go to Isaiah 49?
yeah, let's get actually I want to do Joel. I want to hit that Joel.
Okay, yeah, that's a heavy one.
And then we're gonna go to the Isaiah 49.
Okay.
Let's get that Joel 3 and 1.
Yeah, because what we're going through is some history that a lot of us know, but they are taking it out of the school system. We're going over the transatlantic and the sub-Saharan slave trade.
Yep.
Like, what happened? What was the process and the end result of those slave trades? You know, who are we today as a people? That's what we've been going over since we've been on the air.
Right. And then another form of proof of that we are the Israelites according to the Bible is this entire book is about the so-called Israelites, Jews.
Right.
When in the Bible, I challenge anyone, show me where in the Bible does it talk about the Germany Holocaust.
Right.
I can't find
It's
it.
not there. But yet, the slave trades, the Trans-Sahara, the Transatlantic, both of them are depicted here in the scriptures. Let's get it.
The book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. And
That's you so-called blacks,
West Indians.
West Indians, and Haitians.
And Haitians and American blacks.
Yeah.
I will also gather all nations and will bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people.
Are we not getting closer to that today?
Right. They over in the Middle East right now battling.
And for my heritage, Israel.
So hold on. The Most High God said he's going to plead. How he pleads is Isaiah 66 and 15. With war. That's how he pleads.
Right.
So he's pleading with the nation for his heritage, Israel.
That's clear.
Whom they have scattered among the nations.
Whom they have scattered amongst the nations. So he's saying that these heathens have scattered us amongst all the nations. How do they do that? It's called slavery.
It's a consistent theme throughout the Bible when we hit these scriptures. Because the scriptures can't be broken, brothers and sisters.
Right. And remember, we went over a few scriptures before that say the same thing.
And we pulled out scholarly documentation.
Right.
And parted my land.
And parted the land of Jerusalem. Like I said earlier, now when you look at Jerusalem, a part of the land is for Amalek, which is the so-called Jewish, and a part of the land is the Palestinians. They have parted the land. And even when you go into the city itself,
right,
a part of it's for the Palestinians, a part of it's for the Jewish or Amalek, and a part of it's for the so-called Christians.
Right.
So they have parted the land. When you read the Bible of old, that never existed.
Exactly.
Never. Jerusalem, Israel had the entire portion.
Right.
Because remember, they had an inheritance of land. There was no heathens taking property.
No, they wasn't coming up in there setting up shop. That's foolishness.
Read on, verse 3.
Verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people.
And they have cast lots. Read on. That's when they starting to sell us at the auction blocks.
Right.
And have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon?
So the Most High is saying, what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon?
Right.
These are ancient African tribes. The Most High God is saying, what you Africans got to do with me?
So that's the first party.
And all the coast of Palestine.
And now he's saying, and you Arabs, what you got to do with me? So how is it that the Most High is for all nations when the Most High God is saying, what you got to do with me?
Exactly.
Clearly.
So we got two parties that the Most High has already mentioned.
Read on.
Will ye render me a recompense?
The Most High God is saying, will you render me a recompense, meaning payback?
And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head.
So the Most High God is going to pay them back. Read
Right.
on. Why? Let's see why.
Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things.
So when they sacked us, when they destroyed us, 70 AD, and even when they sacked our cities in West Africa, they
And
took
in America.
they took all of our treasures. Like when you mentioned that, just like in South America when
Right.
they were conquered. They say that they was walking around butt naked.
That's because
savages.
they took everything.
They had
great cities.
They had gold and diamonds sold in their garments.
Right.
That's
they walked
crazy.
around with gold and emeralds on their body freely.
They had grills too, diamonds in their mouth.
Right,
rubies,
the whole
sapphires.
nine, and the Most High said they taking His gold and silver, so you already know what's going to be judgment for that.
Right. Read on.
Verse 6. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians.
So who are the Greeks? That's clear. It says the children of Judah, which are you so-called American blacks, and the children of Jerusalem, which is your West Indians,
Jamaicans,
and Haitians,
exactly.
have you sold unto the Grecians. Who are the Greeks? Because remember, the top is speaking about the Arabs and the Africans up above.
Right.
So who did the Arabs and the Africans sell? What people? It was us, the so-called Israelites. Well, the Israelites.
Yeah.
So-called African Americans, West Indians, so-called African Americans that you know yourself as today. That's who they sold. That's the transatlantic slave trade.
Exactly.
Before the transatlantic slave trade, it was the trans-Sahara slave trade, where the Arabs and the Africans sold you to. They scattered you amongst all nations.
Even in China. And
Yep,
we
to China,
got
to
documentation
India.
on that.
They sold. Man, remember, the Arabs have been doing the slave trade even during the time of Joseph.
Right,
14th
before 1400 years.
1400 years.
So
straight.
they've been doing it for hundreds and thousands of years.
Even still.
And Mecca, which
Yeah,
a
even
lot of
still.
you foolish brothers and sisters go to, that was the largest slave port on the
history.
earth.
In history.
In history, period.
And they bound down to Iraq.
So, hey, finish reading that up. We're going to wrap it up real quick.
The book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 6. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that they might remove them far from their border.
There you go. Because even the video we saw earlier, the African was like, yeah, we wanted y'all away from here. We wanted y'all far away from here. We wanted you gone.
Right. He said before we multiplied and subdued the land.
Right. So he said, yeah, we sold y'all to the white man. So because they was going to take you far from your borders.
Right. And that's the thing. People outside of this country know who the Israelites are. We've been so dumbed down and miseducated in America. We have no idea who we are.
We've been destroyed as a people. Now let's get Isaiah 49 and 10.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 49, verse 10. You want 10 or 12?
Now, you can hit that 10 through 12.
All right. They shall not hunger nor thirst, neither shall the heat nor sun smite them. For he hath mercy on them that shall leave them. Even by the springs of water shall he guide them. And I will make all my mountains a way, and my highways shall be exalted. Verse 12. Behold, these shall come from far, and lo, these from the north and from the west, and these from the land of Sinim.
So these are talking about the Israelites coming from the different areas of the land, because remember, we were scattered.
So it says from the north and the west, and then Sinim. Sinim is ancient China. That's talking about from the east. And we got books on that, brothers and sisters.
Yep, let's get that book.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get Sex and Race. That's J.A. Rogers. I think that's page 67.
Yep.
So a lot of you don't even know that we was in captivity under the Chinese.
This is a book entitled Sex and Race, Volume 1 from J.A. Rogers. A chapter entitled, Who Were the First Chinese? The first inhabitants of China seemed also to have been the Negritos. Unmixed Negroes with no connection with Africa still live in southern China. Additional evidence of Negroes in China is given by Professor Chang in an article entitled The Importation of Negro Slaves to China under the Tang Dynasty.
What?
Entitled The Importation of Negro Slaves to China under the Tang Dynasty in 1618 through 907 A.D. He says, the Ling Yao contained in book 197 of the history of the old dynastic Tang Dynasty says the people living to the south of Linyi have woolly hair and black skin. Chinese folklore speaks often of these Negroes, he says, and mentions in the press of China. Concerned to the Emperor Heisu, who is spoken of being as a Negro, he adds that according to the writings of a later period, the 7th to the 9th century, Negro slaves were imported into China from Africa.
There you go. And we just read that in the book of Joel.
All right. We will be scattered into all nations.
So that's heavy. Don't get it twisted. We got more books on that too. Let's go ahead and get the Ebos, page 27. And then we got one more over there, the Black Holocaust, page 14. So we not up here making up a whole bunch of stuff. We not up here just some niggas running their mouths. We know what we talking about.
The Ebos of Nigeria. Several African tribes still consider themselves descended from Hebrew stock, including the Igbo of Nigeria, Tutsis of the East Africa, and the Balamiskis of Cameroon. Black Jews in America trace their heritage back to those Jews who fled from Jerusalem into Africa after the destruction of the first temple 2,500 years ago. They intermarried with the local tribes as did Jews in most parts of the world, taking on new physical features as in such case of the Igbo of Nigeria. Jews around the world tend to look like the communities in which they are found. Jews in China look Chinese. Jews in Poland look Eastern European.
Hold up, Jews and what?
Jews in China look Chinese.
Let's go ahead and get that Black Holocaust, page 14. Because we're dealing with China right now. Because a lot of us don't even know that there's a remnant of us even in China. As amazing as that is, it's the truth.
So it's not all looks.
It's not about looks. Because we gonna get that too.
The Black Holocaust for Beginners by S.E. Anderson, page 14. The extent of the China slave trade is difficult to determine. African slaves were treated little better than the beasts of burden.
That's not African slaves. That's Israelite slaves.
They were made to lift heavy weights, and because the Chinese believed they swam without blinking their eyes, they were employed as divers to repair leaking boats. Many must have died soon after their arrival in China.
Hold on, read that again. Listen how foolish this madness is.
Right.
Because the Chinese believed they swam without blinking their eyes, they were employed as divers to repair leaking boats. Many must have died soon after the arrival in China. But if they do not die, one can keep them. And after having been kept a long time, they began to understand the language of human beings. though themselves cannot speak it.
So that's letting you know that we were over there in China and built much of the Great Wall. So
They just tried to imply that we couldn't understand language.
Right.
That we couldn't, like we wasn't speaking the language.
Right. And they do that when you hit their corner stores. They act like they can't understand when they short you your money. Mm-hmm. But you better not come short 1 penny with them, or you're not getting your plate, and you know that to be true.
And they speak fluent English then.
Right. Their English is crystal clear. They can teach a college class when they get shorted on their money on English.
What you want next?
Oh, let's go ahead, Michael. Bring.
So we're gonna bring out the book of John, verse 27. John 10 and 27. So that.
Oh, go ahead.
So that we do have remnants in other countries, but to know you're a remnant of Israel, you have to either keep the commandments. You have to know you're a child of Israel. So not everybody in Africa or China or India that look black are Israelites.
Right, yeah. Don't get dumb. We saying it's a remnant. We're not saying all Africans are Israel. Right. That's not what we're saying. It's
all
a remnant.
Chinese people are Israel.
Right. And as he said, as we read out the scholarly book, that, we take on the characteristics and we're going to show that scripture.
Mm-hmm. The book of John, chapter 10, verse 27.
This is Christ talking.
My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me.
So Christ's sheep, that's us Israelites, us scattered remnants, and also us in America too. When we hear these laws and these prophecies, we know this is talking about us. We know this is our book.
Right. Let them know about you, brother.
Because myself, my father's from Nigeria. And for a while, I used to think I was African too, until I found out about the truth. I read the scriptures, I read the prophecies, and I knew there's no way I was African because this book clinged to me too much. There was no way.
The Most High on that.
Right.
Praises.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 16. The Spirit itself bears witness with our spirit that we are the children of God.
So just like I just pointed out, my spirit bore witness with this Bible that I was a child of God.
So you mean to tell me that because you are in Nigeria, so a certified Nigerian, their spirit can't bear witness to this Bible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. And why is that the case anyway? It says your spirit bear witness. Get that in Jeremiah 17:4, because people at home want to get stupid. But we're going to show you why your spirit got to bear witness with the scriptures. We're not going to leave any stone unturned. It's not going to be no confusion coming out here when we speak of thus saith the Lord. Right. Believe that.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage.
What does it mean when something's discontinued? If you online shopping and you looking for a product and it says it's discontinued,
it doesn't exist.
It's gone. So it said you shall be discontinued from your what?
Your heritage.
What makes up a people's heritage? Their land, their food, their language, their identity,
culture,
their whole culture.
Everything.
So their cult was discontinued, and he's talking to Jeremiah.
The way we dress,
everything, the way we greet one another. Keep going.
And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger.
So we kindled a fire in the Most High with foolishness, as we see all the time. We love foolishness as a people. Matt, let's get that in Ecclesiastes 10 and 6. Yeah. Because it's always foolishness. Even in here right now, it's always some foolishness going on.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10, verse 6. Folly is set in great dignity. So
foolishness is highly esteemed amongst you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All you got to do is tune in to World Star Hip Hop and BET, and you see top flight coonery.
Yep, top flight.
Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low place.
So as a result of folly sitting in great dignity, the rich, which are you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, why are you rich? Because God made the whole earth for you. You sit in low places.
Bottom of society.
That's even true when you look at the entertainment system as far as music. Like the quote-unquote rappers that speaking on conscious the situations in our communities don't get no play.
They get no bump on the radio.
But if you sing about trapping or selling drugs or prostituting our women or
you
whatever,
got a nigga with a bunch of gold in his mouth, shaking his dreads.
You all over the radio. You can't stop hearing a song.
Yeah, it's all a bunch of madness. As a result, our people have become simple as hell.
Astonishments.
We got brothers wearing. That's how powerful this witchcraft is. You got grown men, big, strong-ass men, walking around with man purses and wearing dresses. That's just foolishness.
So dumb. What you want next, Soldier?
Let's get Malachi 1:14 first, and then go to Second Esdras.
I got you.
Yeah, let's pick back up the thought, because I apologize. I went off on the tangent, because there's always some madness going on. Let's go back to that Romans 8:16. I apologize for that. So we pick back up on that Malachi 1:4, so we don't forget the thought.
The book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 16. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God.
Let's get John 6:63 too to prove what that spirit is.
Oh, yeah. Good call on that.
What
Good
we bear
call
witness
on that.
with.
Yeah, because somebody might think it's a ghost floating around that, that brother caught the Holy Ghost. They in church on Sunday throwing the Holy Ghost around like a football.
And don't forget the scriptures where it said we was scattered
Exactly.
abroad into all nations.
So that's how your spirit got to bear witness, because your records were destroyed.
The book of John, chapter 6, verse 63. It is the Spirit that quickeneth, and the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life.
So the words in this Bible that Christ and the Most High spoke to us, this is what gives us life. Keeping these laws gives us life. So you can't just say, I think I'm a remnant. I think I'm from a child of Israel and not keep no laws.
I'm a spiritual Israelite.
Yeah, I'm a spiritual
No.
Israelite. Where that's not even that's not
Converted
possible.
Israelite.
Right. Matter of fact, get that, because somebody might be thinking spiritual Israel. You know how people like to get dumb.
Yeah,
Get
get that
that in
Romans
Romans 11. Because somebody might be talking about spiritual Israel. We closing all doors.
So that means I could be spiritually Chinese. Then.
Right, exactly. That don't even make sense.
Just wake up one day and be spiritually white.
Right. Yeah. And it's a lot of sellout coons. Why you still getting called a nigga if you could spiritually manifest into something?
The book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 1. I say then, hath God cast away his people? God forbid. For I am also an Israelite from the seed of Abraham of the tribe of Benjamin.
So even Paul is
Right.
putting emphasis on being from the seed.
Exactly.
I gotta get
And
Romans.
the
He get
Testament.
Romans 9.
I gotta
Get
get-
Romans 9 too. This all New Testament for all y'all that destroy the letters of Paul.
Just butcher 'em. This is
Right.
the book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 3. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ, for my brethren,
For my who?
my brethren,
Uh-huh.
my kinsmen, according to the flesh.
Nah, to the spirit, brother.
Yeah,
According to
right.
the flesh.
Oh, okay.
Who are Israelites?
Now, brother, who's all nations?
Who are Israelites?
There
Okay.
you go.
To whom pertaineth the adoption.
Hold on. To whom belongeth the what?
The adoption.
Okay.
And the glory and the covenants.
The covenant. The what?
And the covenants. And the giving of the law. And the service of God and the promises.
Hold on. And he said, according to the flesh, who are what?
According to the flesh, who are Israelites?
So all those things that the brother just went over in Romans 9, 3, and 4 said, the Israelites, all these things pertain to them. So that spiritual Israelite garbage that y'all are being taught doesn't go with the scriptures, brother. That's why Christ said, he that believeth on me, as the scriptures have said,
Right.
out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. That's the laws and commandments and the testimonies of this Bible, not a bunch of foolish Sunday school
Motivational
garbage.
talks.
You want Malachi now?
Yeah, the second part of that precept.
The book of Malachi, chapter 1, verse 14. I'm just read it over.
Yeah.
But cursed be the deceiver, which hath in his flock a male, and voweth a sacrifice unto the Lord a corrupt thing. For I am a great king, saith the Lord of hosts,
The Most High.
and my name is dreadful among the heathen.
So the Most High's name is dreadful among the heathen.
Amongst the heathen.
They hate him, just like in Psalms 83.
Right,
Yep.
that's all the other nations outside of Israel.
So you're
They-
going to be faking.
Right.
you ain't
yeah.
faking
No
the funk with the Most High.
That's
You
just
ain't
like
faking.
how the Hamite said, we want y'all far out of here and take your God
And
with
take
you.
your God with you.
And
They
our God.
already know.
Because they hate him. And the Israelites, you.
Yeah, they definitely hate you.
So now, where it says your spirit bears witness with our spirit, that means when you read this Bible, when you go over Deuteronomy 28,
Right.
15 and back, you like, wait a minute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even in Nigeria, my people were treated this way.
Right.
We were persecuted. We were slaves. We went through certain transgressions and stuff, just like you. So, for example, during the 1400s,
Right.
the so-called Native Americans had the same thing happened to them.
Exactly.
The so-called Hispanics in South America by the Columbus and the conquistadors had the same thing happen to them that you so-called African Americans and West Indian blacks had.
And
Right.
he was also called nigger.
Right.
Exactly.
By the same oppressor.
Right, and they put that in the movie, y'all. I'm telling you, it's a clip in there, and they threw it in there slick. They sailing down the river, and he said there's tree niggas all around us, because before then, the Israelite brothers and sisters, there was the tribe of Gad. They was up in the trees shooting at Esau with arrows, so they was, you know,
We're
looking
gonna bring
all
it
around.
next show.
Yeah,
Bring
we
it on
gonna-
next
we
show.
gonna have
So
it here.
What
We'll
we
bring it on
found out,
next show.
what we found out today, based off the scriptures, thus saith the Lord, is that when the scripture says that his name is dreadful amongst the heathen, and Romans 8:16 say the spirit bear witness. So you must be an Israelite for your spirit to bear witness to this Bible.
Exactly,
It's literally
right.
impossible
Exactly.
that a
According to the
heathen can
flesh.
just say, you know
Get
what,
that
I'm an Israelite
Acts.
today.
Is that Acts 16 and 20? Is that Acts 16 and 20?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, let's see. Because it said his name is dreadful. Let's see.
The book of Acts, chapter 16, verse 20, and brought them to the magistrates, saying, these men being Jews do exceedingly trouble our city, and,
How they trouble the city? Let's listen.
and teach customs which are not lawful for us to receive.
Hold up, they teach customs that are what not law. What?
So
And teach customs which are not lawful for us to receive,
Uh-huh.
neither to observe, being Romans.
Being who?
Being Romans.
There you go.
So the heathen saying, nah, we don't want to observe that. Neither do we want to practice it.
That's clear.
So that means these laws are for everybody. That shows it right there. They said it themselves.
Right. We got like 5 minutes, so you want to go through them.
Yeah, let's get to back this up. Let's get 2nd Esdras 3:36.
Right.
Just to show that there's no way a heathen can keep the Most High's laws. It's not for them. That's why you see them fake Jews with them zits trying to pass them off as fringes. That's
Right.
not in the law.
They not even keeping laws. They got
Right.
a nine count of manure. Let's
This
bring
right
this
here,
up.
bang it. The book of and the Apocrypha, the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 3, verse 36. They shall find that Israel by name hath kept thy precepts,
Because we were given the covenant, the promises, and the law.
All that
So we kept
belongs
them.
to Israel.
Right.
but not the heathen.
Not the who?
But not the heathen.
So how is it that Christ is for everybody?
That just don't even make sense.
Yeah, I mean, based off the precepts today, it's literally biblically impossible for you to convert to being an Israelite, one, and that it is hope for our brothers and sisters that scattered abroad.
Right.
You understand? So
Right.
Let's get the Numbers 118 too, so there's no
Yeah.
confusion.
Let's get
about
that.
Because it's not just the Jewish people say it's your mother that carries the seed that determines the genealogy.
That just lets
But-
you know that they're really not, because they can't keep the law as it's written.
Exactly.
Right. They doing their best, and they the only ones that's known as the Jews on the earth. You Negroes
just-
is known as niggas.
Yeah, they just
straight
deceive,
up.
They deceiving the people, and when you really examine them, they not really keeping the law.
They not at all.
Not doing a good job of it.
still got the yarmulke or whatever.
Yeah.
Where you get a 9 count of manure from in the scriptures?
Yeah,
The Bible says 7.
it's not there.
It's just dumb. The book of Numbers, chapter 1, verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families
So they were conducting a census
by the house of their fathers,
of their fathers.
Hold on.
according to the number of the names.
Not the mother?
Nope.
By the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward by their posts.
But why is that? Because remember, we read that scripture earlier.
And Romans
By the
11 and
seed
1.
of
But the
Abraham.
seed of Abraham, and the man carries the seed,
Yeah,
not the woman.
let's put in layman's term. If you plant a
There we go.
apple seed in America,
There we go.
obviously an apple tree is going to come up. If you take the same seed from that apple tree and plant it in China, an apple tree is going to come up. The seed carries the nationality the same way it carries the same regarding the fruit and vegetables. That's just common sense.
To tie it in with the lesson, whether the fruit bear out, it may have characteristics of the mom.
Right.
That's why the brother said that regardless of where we go in our communities, we look like the people we in captivity by.
Right, and it even said Elam, and there's a group in East India or India called the Untouchables. They are the Israelites as well. They are India is a very impoverished country. They are even below the poverty that that country's already
and
in.
they actually keep themselves separate.
Right, and they separate.
Ethiopia that does the same thing as well. I have that in the book.
Right.
Keep themselves separate from them.
And they know they came there on slave ships too.
Exactly.
They still know the history.
And the people around them know because they treat them totally different.
Right, and that's ways. And matter of fact, even the people in India, they actually say in the video that the Arab princes brought them to that land as slaves.
Exactly.
So that means they knew their history.
Still today they use as like untouchable. It is there, and it is not. You cannot completely wash out from Indian culture. It is very tough. Among them, they still today they use like untouchable. Among them, then what?
Their women earn extremely low wages as housemaids in the towns surrounding the seedy neighborhoods. The men mostly work as farm helps for the Indians and ironically are regarded as encroachers. For centuries, they have lived in the forest unknown to many across the rest of the world, shunned and almost forgotten. The city's arrival can be traced back to the 10th century when many came aboard the dhows of Arab merchants who traded with kingdoms along India's west coast. The Arabs are believed to have captured the cities after raids on coastal Bantu villages in East Africa.
So that's why we read that scripture earlier where it says our spirit bears witness.
Right.
It has to, because
so that
we
means
scattered.
when you read this, you're identifying the same thing. Like, man, that happened to my people too. Right. Even though you scattered abroad, you might be in India or Africa or China. You identifying yourself with the same thing.
Right. Exactly. So, we're going to wrap up the show, but, don't forget to support us. Check us out at Original Royalty. Get your righteous music in a righteous peril, man. Support this truth. We need your help, brothers and sisters. We cannot do it alone. We call on those that are called by the Most High to push this truth, to return back to Christ, keeping the commandments and the faith in Christ. With that, we say shalom.
Shalom. Most High Christ bless.
And breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. What's that? The Spirit of the Most High God. The commandments of the Most High God. The Bible says from Friday at sundown to Saturday at sundown, there's what? No buying or selling. That's the Sabbath day. We keep that. The Bible commands us that we wear fringes. That's what you see in all the brothers. We keep that. And that's why we're here, to teach our people that. That's the answer.
Shalom, Israel. I'm Elder Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. YouTube likes to shut our channels down, as some of you have noticed, ever so often. Subscribing to join IUIC will assure you will always stay connected to our YouTube accounts. We want to do our best to make sure this truth gets out. Please click and join our subscriber YouTube channel called Join IUIC to stay linked to all of our videos. So again, please make sure you subscribe to this Join IUIC channel to get your latest updates from all our YouTube channels. Shalom.